Welcome to this episode of Racing Dean. Here I am putting on my race tyre on a new wheel because I chipped a wheel last time out at Wilton Mill. Also got to use the tyre tongs again. They are very satisfying to use. There's a link to those down below. If you buy anything using those links, you support the channel. Thank you in advance. So this is round 2 of the GX UK Championship and we're at Llandow in Wales, or Llandow I believe it's called, and this is the first heat and we're starting right at the back in front of the novices. Fairly clean start to the race and you're going to see a couple of karts spin off on the outside there. Oh, there they go. And we are behind Jacob Sharrett, who's obviously a really good driver. He would go on to win the whole weekend. I didn't manage to stay on the back of him, but I can see there number 16 has got past me. Now I saw number 16 quite a lot, Lennox Ferguson Walker, in the testing the day before, and he was really quick, so happy to be on the back of him, trying to track him down. So I just skipped it on a little bit there towards the end of the race, and you can also see that I'm using 2 cameras. So right now this is the Cambox V3 as used by Brad Philpott and Alex Van Gien, and this is the GoPro 360. Now normally I like to use the front and the rear facing camera, but apparently you're not allowed to use rear facing cameras at GX UK, something to do with complaints to the stewards. So I've just got it as a second camera angle forwards, and it is a bit smoother than the Cambox, so enjoy both of these angles. So number 16 has said let's work together, because I did tap him at the start of the last lap, and I will do so again. My apologies, Lennox, I didn't mean to hit you there, and it's to my disadvantage because I've lost momentum coming onto the back straight. But luckily he is a little bit held up behind number 113, so I'm able to get back on the back of those guys to live another day to try and make that place up. Now number 13, 113 has gone defensive, so I get a better run through that corner, and I'm right on the back here, trying to get a nice tight line through here so I can get a good drive into the double left-hander and then into Spoon, I believe it's called, and I managed to make that stick on the inside, which is fantastic. And then I try to stay fairly tight through here, because if you don't stay tight you do lose places through that corner. So this is the last lap, and up in front I can see number 42, who is Simon Fuller. So him and I have raced a few times before in GX UK at the last round, but also previously to that in Club 100, and I know that we are similarly matched pace-wise, so happy to be hanging on the back of him, and just wondering opportunistically if there's going to be an opportunity into the last corner of the last lap. I thought I got a good run off that penultimate corner into the straight, but not good enough, so all of the positions stayed as was.
Didn't do much filming yesterday as practice, and to be honest, it didn't go that smoothly in terms of nothing went wrong, but I wasn't able to find any pace. But I put the race tyres on today, and I made a change to the front of the kart where I lowered the front a little bit, and I found a second lap time. So some of that could be the tyres, and some of that could be the setup, and some of it could just be racing a bit better. But from that first heat, I started 22nd, and I think I'll have made up a few places. So I'm pretty happy with that. More so than the places, I'm just happy with the outcome. Like going a second faster is wicked. I'm also, I've had a chance to look at the footage quickly from the new camera. Pretty cool. This is the Cambox 3. I got told that the Cambox 4 doesn't have good battery life and doesn't do long clips. So yeah, on to Heat 2, where I think I've got a higher grid position, so we'll see how we go.
So we're starting in pole for my second heat of the day, and I have got stiff competition on the right in the face of Russell N. Dean, and I get a bit bogged down coming out of there. But to be honest, something else is afoot here, because the fuel cap is not on, and I've been trying to keep it closed with an additional fuel cover, and I've just been pressing my knee against that fuel cover, but my leg was starting to get really wet with petrol, and that felt like a bad idea to be doused in petrol, so I chose to bring the kart home. There was also a funny scraping noise at the front, which I wasn't sure about either, so two reasons to bring the kart in, but primarily the petrol was the main reason.
Well, that was really annoying. Just before we set off, I noticed the fuel cap wasn't on. So there was a little cover, so I thought maybe I could just keep the cover on with my knee, but ultimately I wasn't really happy with that. And then there was something scrubbing at the front, so those two things made me think better retire and miss that heat, which is upsetting because I'd have probably had an okay finish in that one, starting from the front. But you live and learn. I won't leave the fuel cap off again.
Third and final heat of the day, and this is my midfield start. So I'm starting in about 9th, and we're off to the races. And this start is so much better than in my last heat, where I was kind of out of shape through here and would go wide at the next corner, whereas this start has gone a lot more smoothly, keeping it tight, not losing the front end like I did last time. Much better this time. So we've got number 66 here, Alex Horn, who's just gone through. I saw it was him, and I knew from the practice sessions that he had a bit more pace, so I've let him through. And then Tom Angier has slipped through as well. I know Tom from Club 100. I know he's a bit faster than me, so I guess my goal now is to stick on the back of these guys and to not lose contention with this lead pack. As I mentioned, after my first heat, I felt much happier with my pace than during the practice the day before. So I know it's in me. It's just a question of stringing it together and not making mistakes that would drop me off the back of this pack. That said, I've just made a mistake. I've gone into that corner too hot and lost a bit of momentum. So I've just decoupled myself a bit from those guys in front. So it's mine to bring it back in, and again I hit that inside curb, and that curb does tend to slow you down if you whack it wrong. And sure enough, we've got another guy who's come up on the inside. It's number 18. It's Paul Zanatachi. I'm not sure if I got that right, but it's number 18 regardless, and I've let him through. So now we're down 3 places from the start. And and another guy trying to get through as well. So we're at risk here of plummeting down the order, which is not what we want. So come on, Si, get it back together and get your head on straight and try and hold your position. Spoke to you soon. That's number 25. That's Matthew Davis, and we're going to be seeing a bit more of Mr. Davis over the course of this video. So nice to meet you. I actually saw Matthew in Alex Van Geen's Meet the Grid video, so good to put a number to a face. And rewardingly, I'm still on the back of him. Some spinners there. Two people seem to have had a bit of a coming together. Quite a lot of talk going around about these Venom engines, which is this green engine that Matthew has. A lot of people saying good things about them. I'm using my Monkey Motorsport engine, which actually might be slightly faster than my GXT engine, which are also meant to be quite good, but it does look like my engine's holding its own against the Venom. Plus I'm a couple of kilograms over the weight limit, and judging by Matt Davis's build, I'd say he's probably on the weight. Whoa, look at that. That's Tom Angier. He's gone gardening, he's gone lawn mowing, and he kicks up a bit of dust there. He doesn't lose too many positions, but I think he has fallen back a place or two. And now we're coming towards the end of the race, the closing few laps. And I've kind of done it, like I haven't lost contention with that pack in front, and these two are having a scuffle. And I'm able to capitalise on their scuffle and just move it up a position to cross the line.
Alright, so we've just finished my third and final heat, and that's pretty decent. I think I'll be in the top 15. I started 9th, so I'm fairly happy with that. I've already done more racing this weekend than I did all of last weekend because of my retirement, so we'll see where we land. It's either going to be right at the back of the A or somewhere near the front of the B final, I suppose, but clocked in another 51.5, so I'm happy with that. And now I've got a bit of relaxation time before the finals, so tyre check, refuel, and let's go.
Right, so it would be the B final, and I'm starting in third position, but I've just got a bit bogged down through that infield complex, and I've come out of all that in 5th place. Thank you very much to Karting Live TV. I've screen recorded your footage without asking permission, but hopefully it's okay. I don't have your voices. That wouldn't come through on the screen recording. So you've got my voice and probably some techno beats coming in at any second. And we can see here that we've got our friend number 16, Lennox Ferguson Walker, or LFW. And I've seen a lot of that number 16 this weekend, and he's doing great, so I'd love to know what his experience was. It says he's a novice, but he's a very good novice, it would seem. So we've fast forwarded, and there's 2 minutes 20 plus a lap remaining so far in this race, and the positions are static. I am still in 5th place, but there is a bit of a battle going on behind me, which is number 44 and number 11. Number 11, William Brightman, who are jostling for that last position to try and get in the A final. I am sort of getting on the back of this lead group and then losing touch again, then getting on the back again and then losing touch again. Now I've got a good run, and these guys are starting to have a bit of a squabble. We've got Daniel Howarth, number 77, or 71 rather. He has just slowed them up a little bit and I'll be able to get on the back of them. But I've also got to go a bit defensive because I've got someone behind me, so I can't necessarily take the best line to get maximum speed, because if I do, I'm going to leave the door open myself and I'm vulnerable to attack. You can just see there's a guy right behind me, just there, we just saw his nose.
Well, I think we're through. I think I'm fifth, which after the bacon sandwich that I just ate really quickly isn't too bad. I can live with fifth.
That was way too much contact, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
I hit you so many times.
Mainly it helped. But we're fifth and sixth, right?
Sorry?
We're fifth and sixth.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think we go through.
Well, I don't know, we're not going through there, so...
Okay, so we've just finished the B final. So qualified in the B final because I didn't put my fuel cap on in one of the heats. So bit of a disadvantage, but the B final was good. I started third, finished fifth, so I didn't do that well off the line. But all in all, happy to have not lost my place to sixth, who seemed to have a bit more pace. My pace was actually a little bit slower than in the heats. In the heats today I'd been doing 51.5, but I was doing 51.8. Maybe it was the bacon sandwich, maybe it's just driving worse. So yeah, I had a bacon sandwich right before starting, which is suboptimal, but on to the A final.
Quite a lot of talk about a bacon sandwich just then. I was sitting in the cafe with Tom, Andrew and Simon Fuller, and end plate holder chap from the army whose name I've forgotten, and I was just scoffing a BLT baguette when the B final placings came out, and I had to literally dash out there. Luckily my cart was ready to go and get my cart, so I started the B final with a heavy stomach. Not so much in the A final though. I've had a can of Red Bull and we're good to go. Number 11, William Brightman. He's still there, he's doing well. My friend from the B final who's on my tail. And we're going to go 2x2 through here, through Spoon, 2 abreast. Nice, neat and tidy, everyone's kept their position, that's fantastic. But I do have a line of carts on my inside, but yeah, I managed to hold it down, so far, so good. Uh-oh, so spoke too soon, so there's been some kind of a crash. I know it's involved Simon Fuller and Paul Handley. I don't know much beyond that, but I do know that I ended up hitting the back of 71, who's Daniel Howarth, and I've put a big old dent in my front bumper, and I've also knocked it inwards because it's got one of those kind of crumple zone things that shows if you've had a crash. Mine does now show that I've had a crash, and it's kind of wedged inwards and touching the ground, so it has affected the handling of the car a bit. I can feel that not everything is quite as it should be, but also I guess I just wasn't driving spectacularly. I've skipped it on a bit, and we're back with Matthew Davis, number 25, and I was able to lap much faster going with Matthew. I don't know if it's just the fact that you can kind of like watch them, or a bit of slipstream, or a bit of both, or just kind of like a bit more competition, a bit more focus. Maybe it's easier to follow than to be followed. But just for these next few laps, I would be just kind of 2 or 3 kart lengths behind him, but really unable to do much more than that. And gradually, lap by lap, we kind of have a few moments when we get closer, but then ultimately I do lose contention, and I would lose 1 more place. But as a weekend, I was actually really happy with how things went. I mean, it actually takes quite a lot to finish a go-karting weekend in one piece. There's a lot can go wrong with the car, there's stuff can go wrong with your body, like my rib is pretty stiff even today. So happy to make through to the A final, and hopefully this is the shape of things to come.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Some damage.
Well, that's the end of the weekend, and definitely made up a few places in the A final. More due to others' misfortune than to my speed. I picked up a bit of damage on the front, so my nose was rubbing on the ground, so I was about half a second slower than what I was doing in the heat. So I did get into the 51s, 51.8, but definitely not where I was in the earlier heats. So bittersweet. Made it to the, the journey to get to the A final this time has been tough, because I'd had to do quite a lot of physio to get my elbows sorted out, and then I fucked up one of the races because of the fuel cap issue, but we made it. So onwards and upwards. Just 143 miles on this road to go. See ya.